Merry Christmas, dildo breaths. Back at it again. It's OPEX. I'm out here on the road. I'm spending Christmas working as usual. And today I got a video for you. Got some coffee ready. And let me gather my thoughts and we shall begin. Cue no intro. Alright, I'm sure you guys really hate this camera angle. So do I. We will fix that probably within a month. Not gonna buy the thing at the truck stop for like $30. Makes no sense to me. But I'll figure it out and we will change that in about a month or so. So then we can have a way better view of me. Maybe even have a dash cam that goes out watching me drive. Because there's beautiful views here, as you can see. Not sure if you could see anything, but we tried. All right. So I want to talk about basically terraforming and why I think it's very important to terraform. Not Mars, but Earth. And I'll get into why. So, as you can probably tell, as you've seen in the media and the news, there's the Elon Musks of the world that want to terraform Mars and shit like that. You hear it from scientists often, right? Terraform Mars. That's our goal. Let's spend billions and billions, if not trillions of fucking dollars to terraform Mars. Now, if you haven't fucking figured it out, it's super hard to terraform a planet. Mars would be the easiest one to terraform because there's a slight atmosphere, right? Well, let me explain something. It is still damn near impossible to terraform Mars. Not only would it take thousands of years, and I'll get into the reasoning behind that, but it would also be very, very hard. And we're going to dive into all that shit right now before I tell you why we should terraform Earth first. Now, Mars has some good qualities to it. They're pretty much sure that there's ice water underneath the surface. You can look at these photographs if you believe that shit, and extrapolate from there. They have tons of different types of elements that are really, really beneficial. Some of these elements would be great for terraforming. That can really, really aid in nutrients to, let's say, plant life, right? We even know that there's oxygen on Mars. Maybe not a lot of it, but there is oxygen on Mars to some degree. I don't know if it's... I'm not even going to throw a percentage out there. It's just so minuscule that you can't survive, right? So there's so much that we would have to do. Now, if you think about the spectrum of what we would have to do, it would be off the charts. To even get soil, microbiome, so precise that you can produce plants, let alone having all the nutrients in there that would be sustainable for the plants, would be crazy. And to recycle that would be crazy. Like we would need a large amount of... You can't just Johnny Appleseed Mars. You can't just sprinkle seeds and expect it to grow. There's no micro organisms that break down anything. They're, poop out. I mean, you need a microbiome in the environment to produce plant life. Plants won't have enough carbon dioxide to breathe. So you're going to have to artificially inseminate that. There's tons of things that you would have to do and go about this. Dirt. The dirt on Mars is unusable. I mean, you need a good system of microorganisms. Break down all the stuff, shit it out, create nutrients that uptakes into the plant, right? And there's tons of stuff that are on Mars right now that if you add water to it, it would create like, it would basically be uptaken into the roots of a plant and it would kill it. So we would have to essentially, it would take so long to get those elements out of the soil in order to inoculate it with, you know, life in general, let's say microbial life, you know, mycorrhizae and other types of fungi which you need in the soil. Watch my video on, I don't remember what I call it, so never mind. And YouTube's taking down all my videos. I don't even know what's up left anymore. The amount of videos that are being taken down from me, in 2 years, I'm not going to have any videos left on YouTube. So go to Odyssey if you want to see my whole catalog of videos, of content. So, what would we do to terraform Mars? Well, we would have to create an engineered, blocked off, something that it's big enough to sustain animals, which would create the carbon dioxide. We would have something big enough that would create, that can fit in plant life, like all different types of plant life, which would create the oxygen, right? So we would need that going on. We would need the roots to be able to be buried into soil to create uptake of nutrients, to create the whole thing, right? We would need microorganisms, not just random microorganisms. We need good microorganisms. We need some of the bad to control everything. Everything has to be at an equilibrium, and that's what people need to understand. So you're going to have to create this in a lab where you're going to have, I'm just going to throw this out there, like an acre that you can create a system where, and practice this over years and years and years, and have different generations of plants and animals and microorganisms to see if it works. First off, just to see if it works, just to practice enough to understand that you're doing the right thing and everything's breaking down in the soil, and that soil is fertile and nutrient dense soils with elements. Because what happens when the plant uptakes nitrogen out of the soil? There's going to be no more nitrogen for the next generation. So you're going to need a good balance of making sure that the next generation is going to survive, then the next generation, then the next generation, right? It is so difficult to take a plethora of organisms, put it into an acre glass caved in ecosystem, and to create life that's sustainable. Because there's going to be animals that eat animals. There's going to be animals that eat the plants. The plants are going to die, and then how's the offspring going to... Like, you're going to need such a perfect balance where there's going to be enough seeds from the plants that keep growing, plants that decay and die and go into the soil to make sure it's fertile, because obviously when a plant dies, it's going to go right back to the soil from which it came. Same thing with animals. Animals are going to be dead, and have to decompose. So you're going to need these organisms and fungi to decompose and create a perfect environment. Whoa, I don't know why that happened. Oh, it's the sun. That's great. So now you're not even going to be able to see me for a while. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry about you're not going to be able to see me for probably a mile. You're just going to have to deal with it. So let's get back into it. The balance required is so difficult to engineer in an artificial ecosystem that it's damn near impossible. To terraform Mars, you're going to have to get rid of all the toxic shit in the soil that's going to kill your plant life and animal life. You're going to have to get rid of it. And how are you going to do that? That's going to take a huge effort. Then you're going to have to bring soil. This is the tough part. You're going to have to bring soil from Earth to Mars. And how much soil can you actually produce? You know what I mean? How much soil can you bring to Mars? Because you're going to need soil with microorganisms. You're going to need soil that is fertile and not just dead like on Mars, where you can't use it to grow. You're going to need animals that have to be able to survive with no oxygen on the planet. Like, it's literally like retarded to think that we're ready to terraform Mars. It's literally retarded if you can't produce this in a lab and create 30 years of sustainable results of it, and create your own ecosystems with the life here on Earth. It is going to be impossible to do it on Mars. So my encouragement to you guys is stop thinking we're going to go to fucking Mars to terraform it. We would all be in bubbles and greenhouses and shit in order to make that work for a very long time, and we don't even know if we can make that work. Now, what we need to do is figure out life on Earth. Actually, I think I have a cure. Did that fix it? Did that fix it? No. Well, I'm not going to be able to fix the lighting problem, guys. So I apologize for that. I thought I could, but I can't. So, why do I say we need to terraform Earth? Isn't Earth already plentiful and have life on it and shit? Yes. But there's one aspect of Earth that is destroying Earth. And that is our one climate type that is destroying the Earth. That is deserts. Now, where do I begin with this? In China, they're terraforming their deserts. They've been doing this for over a decade now, or around a decade. Meaning, they're already practicing removing the deserts. Because what happens when you have a desert? It spreads. You need to stop that from continually to spread. Real quick, when you're in New York State, it's not a desert in New York State. Therefore, you can't have dust storms and things of that nature that can just be overbearing to you're not going to create a Sahara desert out of New York at its current state. Why? Because there is plant life there. There's roots that go into the soil and create a bond. It becomes one with the ecosystem around it, in the soil structure with fungi, microorganisms, and those roots. And it all plays a vital role in order to be stuck there, right? Like to be one. Once you lose that oneness, and it's going to become dirt, right? You're going to create these dust storms and shit, which isn't good. That stuff is not fertile soil. Therefore, it's going to spread. The Sahara didn't become the Sahara overnight. It wasn't that way forever. It was actually very well documented to have been basically a rainforest. The Sahara used to be one of the most fertile lands in the world. And probably for the majority of its existence, and we can speculate here and there about how it became a desert, but all we do know for sure is that once it started the decay into a desert, it became more and more frequent and spread. It spread like a disease. And we do not want the whole world to be deserts. Now, in western Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, you heard this thing called the Dust Bowl? That thing is human engineered. That area was not straight up dust to the extent it is today. We exacerbated it. We tried to create, I'm just going to sum it up real quick why that happened. So the Earth, here, I'm going to try to cover it the best I can. I don't know why you have to see me, you don't have to. But humans decided to use a lot of methods of farming where you didn't till the land, and they would use pesticides. Just after a few years, they killed the soil. They made it unfarmable. And that spread, it spread, and now we have gigantic dust storms. Not to say that it didn't exist before that, it just exacerbated greatly, which sped up the process, which would have taken a lot longer to create to the problem it is today. So, what are the problems with deserts? Well, the problem with deserts is that it's incapable of producing tree life. Tree life is spectacular on all spectrums. So to produce a good ecosystem, you need trees. Trees are great for shade, cover, holding in moisture. And you can go back to one of the videos of the past, one of my videos, which I talked about that I came up with a philosophical claim that it was trees that brought the rain. Is it that trees can't exist in this area because there's no rain, or is it there's no trees that can produce the rain? Now, I came up with this philosophical claim maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but it was a while ago. And since then, scientists, biologists, all different types of scientific minds have started to believe my theory. And now it's a famous theory where now scientists are speculating that it's, yes, again, trees hold moisture. Trees do so much to produce rain. It changes the climate. You wonder why it's so cold at night in the desert, but it's so hot during the day? Well, because there's no trees. The trees create balance. Trees can create a safe haven for wildlife and birds and all different types of creatures. It's actually really good for the environment. Why do you think that the life in the Sahara is almost non-existent? But, 20, 30,000 years ago, it was like the rainforests of the Amazon with life. So, trees create so many benefits. Is it that the Amazon's a rainforest because of where it is on the map and just the jet streams and all of that bullshit? No. The rainforest receives so much rain because of the trees that are already there. It's almost like they changed the pressure. And again, like I said, as much as I want to take credit for that theory, scientists are diving into it more deeper than me to create better claims to that theory. And of course, I'm not going to get credit for that theory because I'm not a scientist. So, going back to China. China's creating, they're planting trees in the deserts. They're terraforming their deserts to be able to produce life. Again, they're terraforming that area, and I agree with that 100%. We should terraform our deserts. It's a lot easier because we already have oxygen, we already have nutrient-dense soils, and we already have plant life all right here. We don't have to go all the way to fucking Mars to try this bullshit out, which is going to be so much harder, so many more resources. But if we start planting trees in deserts and creating an ecological balance in the desert, it's going to bring rain. It's almost impossible for it not to. And of course, that's my theory. You might not have to believe that. If you just plant trees in the desert, it's not going to create rain. Well, I know it's hard to create trees or produce trees that are going to grow to adulthood in the desert without human interaction at all times. You're going to have to produce the right trees that are going to have to be able to survive in 120 degree weather to create that environment. Certain trees are going to survive, certain trees aren't. Certain trees are going to be able to survive with less water and be able to hold more water better. So we're going to have to create a balance. I'm sorry, guys, about this fucking sun. I'm in Arizona right now, and yeah. That's why I'm talking about this video, because it made me think, and like, we can easily just start planting trees over here and then starting to create off those mountains. You see those mountains over there? You don't, but I do. I see the mountains. When clouds go through the mountains, it has moisture coming off of those mountains. Now imagine what it does on the East Coast, on the West Coast. All that moisture that's coming through doesn't just stop at the mountains. Imagine it precipitate onto the trees. So what's great about the West is that they have these mountains, right? The Rocky Mountains. And what happens? Moisture comes down the mountains into lakes and streams. Well, less lakes these days because there's no trees. I'm gonna reiterate that a lot. Trees are the freaking foundation to water. Fresh water, I'll say. Because with trees, it would hold the moisture. If there was trees on the mountain, it would hold the moisture. If there's trees beyond the mountain, it's going to pull down with the pressure. And again, if you don't believe me, that's fine. There's a lot of scientists now that are agreeing with my theory, which was crazy because I never thought that. Like all my theories are now being like mainstreamed from this channel. Like, what was that one that I said? I mean, I have tons of theories on this channel. You should go back and find out. This is like crazy that scientists are now backing my sayings that like space. My space theory, my dimensions theory, my theory that trees bring the rain, not the opposite, that rain brings trees. I mean, it makes you think. But my point is, we need to terraform these deserts. They're getting out of control. There's many ways to do it. Like my dumbass truck driver, this fat fucking moron truck driver, has the key to sustainability in life on this planet, making it much more habitable, much more prosperous, something that is going to terraform this planet for generations, thousands and thousands of years to come, can reduce climate change and all that bullshit. Like, I have the fucking theory here that can change humanity's future for the better. But no, we'll just let these deserts just get out of hand. Make sure that there's no more precipitation, because we can just use geoengineering, right? Let's just geoengineer everything. Let's stop trying to block out the sun. Let's start pretending the sun is our most valuable resource. The sun brings life to this planet. The sun brings balance to the planet. But the problem is we are creating these deserts. And these deserts are getting worse and worse over time. And they're expanding and expanding over time. Now imagine if we just terraformed, and let's say it took 200 years. Let's just say. And we terraformed all the deserts outside of Antarctica on the planet to produce life. and be abundant and start bringing in the rain again and start having river flows the way it used to. You see Salt Lake? Anyone pass by Salt Lake recently? Anyone pass by these lakes on the in the Rockies or in the West Coast? Anyone pass by these? They're getting smaller and smaller. Now, if there was such an abundance of it in the past, and a lot of people theorize, like in Montana and Wyoming, that there were lakes and oceans here in Utah. You see the salt flats in Utah? That used to be much more deeper than it is today. Now it goes flat. But why is that? Because there's no trees. Straight up, there's no trees. A lot of people speculated plant trees, it'll help climate change. It'll reduce CO2 that's being put into the atmosphere, and it's going to be taken by the trees. So, duh, let's fucking get more trees out here. Let's start planting more trees. Trees are not going to be able to beat the deserts on their own without human intervention. Humans need to fucking wake up and not think, oh, to reduce climate change, we need to geoengineer the planet, create floods in certain areas and droughts in others, because that's what happens when you geoengineer. You can't have rain everywhere. You're going to have to put the rain somewhere, and you're going to have to create droughts in other places. It's literally how it works. Look up geoengineering. Do your own research. I mean, that's what you would have to do. If you want to take rain and moisture from one area and put it into another, you're creating a drought in that other area. Now, there are benefits to geoengineering that would be great, but we're not going into that into this video. This video is going to be strictly combating deserts for the betterment of humanity. Not just the climate change shit. I mean, trees itself, right? Just think of trees. Underneath, it creates a layer between the atmosphere above and below. It creates an ecosystem below where life can thrive. It's certain plants aren't going to survive without trees. They need less sun, right? They require less sun, and too much sun would kill it. Just do yourself a favor and grow tomatoes in the desert. It's not going to work. It's going to be too much sunlight. You're going to have to shade it off, at least the majority of the time, or else the sun's just going to kill it. So you're going to need trees naturally, and this is how I expect to fix the planet naturally. Just create the terraform it how it would naturally work, how we observe it in nature working. You don't have to think, oh, we got to artificially do this and that and the third, and we got to terraform Mars, and that's how we're going to figure out how to terraform the deserts here. No, terraform the deserts here before thinking about fucking Mars. These people that want to live on Mars, how about terraform the desert and be the first people to actually live in the desert successfully and not artificially, like, imagine right now, imagine shit hits the fan. What's going to happen to all these people in Las Vegas? That's where I'm going right now. I'm going to Las Vegas. And every time I go through Vegas, I think to myself, none of these people would live. Not one of them would survive if shit hit the fan. Every single time I see it, I'm like, these people don't know how to freaking hunt. And there's not enough food out here to hunt. There's, you can't even produce plant life and vegetables and gardens and fruits. You can't do that. And it would take so long for you to freaking figure out how to do it anyways and have it grow up. it takes 10 years or so to produce an apple off a seed. Right? 10 years. You're going to starve for 10 years? And no. You'd all be dead. So my encouragement would be prepare, right? If you think climate change is going to create this massive doom, prepare now. Start planting these trees. It's going to create so many benefits over time, and it can terraform the planet to the point where it's sustainable. We don't need to artificially create or try to figure out sustainability. It's all the blueprints right here on Earth. It's already done it naturally for, if some of you guys believe, billions of years. So if it naturally can do it, why the fuck are we going out to fucking figure out artificial ways to do it? The blueprint's right here. Get a plant, get a tree, get animals to poop into the soil, and organisms that whether microorganisms, fungi, whatever, to break down organisms to be to get into the soil, to create fertile soil. That's what we need. We need better soil. Those dust storms are just creating more dust storms. It's blanketing the other life, and it's creating drier environments. And when the sun's hitting directly into dust, it's heating up that dust, which is destroying the root structure of the plants. Plants need not 120 degree soil to survive. It needs about 70 degree soil. So if that sun's beating on the plant, it's killing the top part of the plant. It's killing the bottom, the root structure, which should have been much better off. It's killing the bacteria. And for what? It's literally, a desert's creating more deserts. It's not going to fix the problem itself, and we can see that blatantly over thousands of years in the Sahara. How many thousands of years did it take? Not that many. Not that many. To go from a lush rainforest that had the most abundant, most beautiful amount of life forms on this planet that are obviously all basically extinct now, probably the most beautiful place on the planet 100,000 years ago, to what it is today. In 100,000 years, now it's unlivable. It's unlivable. Nothing can live. So, do we want that to just continue and continue and continue? Because even scientists agree it's just going to fucking continue. So, do we want 130 degree days and 30 degree nights, which is not good for plant life or any life in general? Freezing at night, devastatingly hot during the day. Do we want that to be everywhere on this planet? Or do you want to stop it now and create where the Sahara could be the same temperature as the Amazon rainforest? Which it would be. It would be like the same temperature as the rainforest, where the trees trap in heat at night, and the stuff under the trees during the day would be much cooler. It literally balances out life. So, I think you guys understand what I'm saying. I can literally go on all day about this and talk about different aspects and details to this whole thing and how to do this properly. I can tell you how to do it properly. But the point is to do it. You're not going to harm the environment by planting trees in the desert and creating life forms in the desert. You're not. Just start with an acre in the desert, and then make 2 acres, and then 3 acres, and then another acre, and then another acre. And eventually, it's going to fix itself. But the desert right now is destroying itself. It's just spreading. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. It's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And not just the Sahara. We're talking about every desert on the planet. Antarctica, we don't have to worry about that one, right? Because no one's moving to Antarctica. But the point is, can you imagine if the west coast of the United States was as fertile and beautiful as the East Coast? I'd rather live on the West Coast then. Because that's the only thing that's holding me back from the western part of the United States. You know, like Colorado and westward. It looks vastly different than Missouri and eastward. And the reason being is because of trees. There's no fucking trees here. And the trees that you do see are like all dead. They're very vulnerable to having wildfires. Like, who wants to live in that environment? And again, the trees itself will create the balance, will create more rain, hold more moisture, be able to balance temperatures where it's cooler during the day and warmer at night. It balances out. It protects us from UV. Like, it's so beautiful to have trees. I don't want the world to go into chaos knowing how easy it was to terraform our planet, but we're thinking, let's go terraform Mars. Yeah, good luck with that, with your trillions of dollars you're going to spend and probably never succeed. Or we can make it a community or a global effort to just do it where we are, on Earth, to make this world a better place. So think about it, guys. Do you want to be one of these fucking weirdos that want to give all your fucking money and resources into terraforming Mars, which makes no fucking sense to any logical thinker or any gardener or anyone who understands biology or soil or anything, really? If you have over 100 IQ and you know the basics of life, you know that's retarded to terraform Mars when there's the deserts here that need to be terraformed. Anyway, that's enough for this video. Plenty more content coming. I really had to get that off my chest. Merry Christmas, everybody. Stay tuned for more content. It's OPEX. I'm out. Let's save the Earth, shall we? Climate change. Wah, wah, wah. I got the cure. Plant trees in the desert. And it's obviously deeper than that, but that's the idea. That will work. See you guys.